I've wanted this for so long.
We launched a competition to find London's most exciting young artists.
What's this then? Some kind of modern art or something?
A panel of respected judges chose their favourite 10. And over 40,000 members of the public voted for our 11th winner, the People's Choice. These artists are about to embark on the journey of their lives. Let the creating begin. Halfway through the series, and the attention now turns to the final exhibition and auction of the works. All the artists have had a month to complete their new pieces reflecting the spirit of London. Working closely with mentors, they're all in the final stages of photographing, drawing, painting and sculpting. Their work will go on display here in the iconic former Design Museum on the south bank of the Thames, and be presented for sale in a global online auction. For some, the clock is ticking a little too fast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. How's
You
it
sound a
going?
bit down.
Yeah, lockdown blues.
Oh, babe, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
How's the project going? How do you feel about it?
I've kind of already shot it, but in my head.
Tell me it all. Tell me what. I want to suck those thoughts out of your brain. I want to know everything.
So for colors, I want red, blue, and white.
Right.
So now I have a subject. I know who I want to be my subject. I know who I want to shoot with. I've contacted her, so we're going to shoot this weekend. I want her to be in bold African print.
Are you doing that in post, or are you going to put a fabric up?
So I'm going to give the fabric idea a chance and actually see if it comes out well. And then I'm also going to do what I normally do and then just see whichever works better.
So tell me just briefly, what other areas of London did you think of shooting in?
The obvious ones are like where you have Big Ben, the
Yeah.
Shard, the London Eye.
The only benefit to lockdown is actually going to benefit you.
Yeah, because it's the roads are empty.
Well, the roads are empty, but also the main attractions like that, you're not going to have hordes of people. Do you know where's a great place for the London Eye is opposite, across the river, directly across the river on Parliament side, looking towards the London Eye. I did a shoot there recently, looking that way.
Right.
And that's great because you get a completely silhouetted view of the London Eye. And you could do your fabric there and then have the London Eye poking over the top.
Okay.
There's actually a row of Boris bikes there, actually. So she could actually be sitting on a Boris bike.
Really?
Yes, literally outside, opposite the London Eye, there's a row of Boris, because I used one for a shoot recently. There's a load of Boris bikes and she could be on the bike. Then you've got the river and then you've got the London Eye and your fabric could be just behind us. Oh.
I got into a bit of a pickle because I'm a portrait artist, so I don't really work with objects at all. So I've decided to stick to my true self and just deal with portraits and just have my usual colorful style. I did play around on Photoshop with some objects and backgrounds, and it just didn't make me happy. So yeah. Look at that. Oh my God, so big. I'm hoping today really goes really well because I'm really nervous because this is my only shot, to get my shot. So the plan is to get my subject on a Boris bike, and she is going to be in African print. For me, it's just representing the diversity of London and how people migrate here and they still stay true to who they are. Even though they're Londoners, they still acknowledge their roots. I think, okay, let's sit on the bike and see how this works. Wait, can you? No, like face, yeah, no, like face me, like your body. All right. Yeah. Can you put your head down a bit? I'm risking my life, guys. Because these London cyclists are actually insane.
Ooh.
This one, right?
Yeah, I mean like even the, like the fabric how it's
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make it work. Woo! Yay! I'm having the best time.
Got another exciting package. I've got to try and open this really carefully. Got it out, didn't rip it. Always a good moment. So it's a poem that's gonna go inside the box. Now I have this tense moment where even though I've proofread it about 57 times, I look over it and think, please don't have made a spelling mistake. So this has to go in the box. I also need to figure out how I'm gonna put the perspex in the front. Then I can get on to my favourite bit, which is the painting bit.
So my grandma was very abused by her husband, my granddad. Very, very, very badly abused. So I wanted to do my artwork based on her story.
I'll show you like this. Right, let's turn the camera around.
Yeah, I really like that colour palette. You know, you get all the excitement of the texture, but the colour without the distraction of the colour, because those colours harmonise quite well. So that's great. And how is your grandmother being painted directly onto the board, or are you
Drawn.
How is she? Yeah,
Drawn with pen.
with pen, as in biro pen,
Yeah.
like you did before. Yeah, no, that works really well.
Ana kız o ben miyim?
Evet.
Abi. Ne güzel yapmışsın Tayyar.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
She loved it, yeah. She just said her eyelashes need to be done better, but I told her that's just how it was in the picture, so tough. Because of the colours behind it, they're quite dark, you couldn't really see the lines of the smoke. Because usually in this picture, the background's black, and the white smoke stands out against the white background. But because the background isn't black, I've had to draw like black bits on there so the smoke stands out a bit more. My dad said that looked like a broccoli, so I might rub that part out, I don't know. I can't see it, to be honest. I mean, I'd say a tree, but not a broccoli. I mean, that's just rude. I think she's had so many low points in her life that it's almost like a tribute to her as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want her to know that she's valued and she has a voice, and I respect her so much as well, because, you know, if it wasn't for her being brave and coming here, she persuaded my granddad to come here. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. They've all got their scars from it in different ways, but they're all fighters, to be honest, and, you know, just respect them so much because of it. And yeah, that's it. Strong people. I look up to them a lot because of it as well. I think because of what my mum and my grandma have gone through, and it's a cultural thing as well. They always said, Tanya, study, make sure you study, don't get married before you, like, you know, you've studied and all of that. Look, you know, they get your job, get a career. They were always like, get a career, you know. Career's the most important thing. And I was always like, yeah, I'll get a career, whatever, you know. I was doing it, but I didn't understand the importance of getting a career until now. I'm in a position where I've got a career, I'm doing well, I live by myself, you know, I pay my rent, I pay my car, I don't take money off anybody. And I think that is such a strong position to be in for a woman especially. My grandma and my mum didn't have that, and now I understand why they said that to me. The girl should be not worrying about marriage, she should be worrying about herself and her career and living her best life.
leave the camera out. I'm trying to remotely trigger it. Because at the moment what's happening is they just know where we are and they're just not coming anywhere near until we're out of the way. So because they're pretty inquisitive, I'm going to leave the camera out. So we're going to rely on the fox's natural curiosity to see if they'll check it out for themselves. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and push up into the lighter area, because at the moment here it's just too dark to even think about a photo. That's where the den is. So as soon as she gets remotely rattled, she runs home. And so we don't want to stress her out, so we will stay back here for a little bit until she feels calm enough to come out again. They're going out, they need to feed their young. And if you scare them to such an extent that they can't really leave their den, I mean, you don't know, they might not have found food yesterday, they could be hungry, they could be starving. So it's just never a good reason to upset them. So I think she's beginning to go on her night patrol. They're still keeping an eye on us. God damn it. If we head up here, we might be able to see her coming out of the den. That gate there, we'll almost certainly see her stick her head out. That's where she comes out from under. So the actual den is in the bush, but she kind of circles around it. So she tends to stick her head out underneath the gate so you can check out what's going on. And hopefully that means we get lucky. And normally what I would do is I would sit here for a number of hours, so probably 3 or 4 hours, because she'll keep on coming back. And the more you just sit here, the more you're in her territory, but you're clearly no threat. You're not making any attacks. You're not going for the den. You know, no real sort of challenge to her. There she is again. Yeah, so she's just on a loop. Impressive, really. I mean, because she didn't see us go in, did she? And as soon as she came out of that thing, she just knew exactly where we were. Yeah, so foxes are naturally risk adverse. So they don't want to be in situations with humans. So doing something like a stage shoot is possible, but I was always very concerned that they wouldn't be comfortable. And we were repeatedly assured that it's a very chilled out fox, done lots of before, that kind of thing. And anyway, for one reason or another, it fell through. And the initial response was sort of like frustration, but at the same time was actually the overriding sensation was relief, because however much I got the charity on board, however much everyone thought this was ethical and the right thing to do, it never quite sat right with me.
Back to basics. One of the things that I was talking to Bradley about as well is that when I started doing these acrylic pieces, I missed that kind of the speed of the other ones, and that I would just do it in one flow. And he said, no one cares how you get to the party. And people only care that you're at the party. So that's what I tell myself every time I get frustrated with and impatient.
Yeah, so I'm just doing the transfer process at the moment, so I thought I'd try and film some of it and show you how some of it works. 2 different types of transfers which I use. This is the first type of transfer that I use, and I use gloss medium for that, and it creates really crisp, basically borderline collage transfers, whereas these transfers which I'm working on now are acetone transfers. And they're a bit more complicated, but the nice thing about them is they're a little bit hazier, they're not as clear. And within the photos I'm choosing, I'm trying to select these. This first painting's an image of Lulu as she is now a bit older, working as a professional. So I'm trying to create images that show her from that perspective, and use that within my transfers. So you just press the image on, and then you start applying the acetone. So obviously you want to be wearing gloves and a mask for this bit, because the chemicals aren't really the best. And then it's a case of rubbing. This image that I'm doing now is actually a photo of our grandparents in Ghana. It's nice having having that imagery of where we come from. Such a big part of our lives and our culture, and I guess the way we perceive the world and that perspective. I think for both of us, and in the conversations we've had, that ancestry and that link to Ghana has been such a blessing in our lives. And that's the process. So you can see there just this hazy outline of our grandparents with just little fractions of colour, and it creates that sort of ghostly effect. And then that balancing against some of the slightly sharper images, and certainly the images here, again kind of gives you that impression of time and memories in a way.
London has always been one of the most creative, artistic, culturally diverse cities in the world. Each of our artists speaks freely of the inspiration they've found in its history, its streets and buildings, its people. There's a real sense that anybody can express themselves here, make an impression, maybe make the big time. One artist who represents that spirit more than most is Next Big Thing mentor, Dr. Shyla Kumari-Burman. Shyla is the iconic Asian British artist who transformed the front of the Tate Britain into a spectacular celebration of bright lights and swirling colour. She has clear advice for all young creatives. Everything is possible.
I'd just say don't take any nonsense from anybody. If anybody thinks you're not very good or your drawing's not very good, just tell them to get lost. Just do your own stuff. Just follow your dreams, follow your heart, be true to yourself.
So tell us the concept and about the festival and of course the ice cream truck. Why don't you walk us through that?
I just did it because that's what I do. I didn't, it's not like they gave me a brief, it's what, I don't know. It just pans out like that. I think like that probably all the time. I just did the job. I didn't know it was going to pan out to be this pilgrimage. I have no idea. It's like a 60s a gathering, when people are having their birthday parties here and all.
Hello. So, right here we have some of my sketches and of course a painting. Just, to give me a rough idea of how my painting is going to actually unfold. This is, a sketch of what it should actually look like. So, her in front, him slightly behind.
So I'm thinking if I'm measuring her basically off my own body scale.
As you do.
So I imagine her to be like this.
Okay, yeah.
Somewhat, but extended further. And then it would come up, this would maybe be chin.
Yep.
And then head would come back, like leaning back. I'm even imagining that I might change the angle a bit more to be like.
Right, yeah. I'm preferring that. Now we're seeing it in the 3D, we're seeing a new picture again. What I would like us to see is that the figure is being framed by the overarch. But what we don't want to do is start to lose the figure in the back. Yeah. Bring her forwards. We'll do the same thing again every time. If you think in your head, all the way too far one way, bring it back, and then that way you'll find the balance in between.
I guess it's a challenge to build it in a way that was self-support, can come apart, and will still be structurally held together while capturing. I wanted to capture a feeling of chaos and magnetism, in a sense, that they're holding themselves together, bound by energy, as opposed to bound together by obvious structural solutions. So, but then when I was building it, obviously then you come against this structure. So
all the time, right.
I'm glad that you think that it still captures it.
But all round, super happy with the piece. Super happy. Have you started the small one yet?
I've started little bits and pieces, as you can see here.
Oh, okay. And this is what bit?
This is part of the hips.
The body?
Yeah.
Okay, the figure.
Because
okay.
that's always the trickiest part.
Okay.
This is so tricky. I guess it's like playing with the tension of having it feeling like it's being pulled in
Yeah.
and pushing out.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like flowing out. And I suppose I want it to really feel like there is tension in the piece and that it's not just completely exploding.
Yeah.
Because that tension is the momentum.
It's not a competition, but we do have to win.
Yeah.
All right?
Next week, everything has to come together. Works must be finished on time, and our mentors offer their final words of advice. Everything points to the final reveal of 11 original pieces of work. So join us next time for Next Big Thing.